I admit that I don't watch the landscape as close as I should, but when Rivers RPG talked about Hasbro's Chris Cox and the use of I listened up. GameMasters here, and after watching Rivers' video, I started doing some research. I wanted to understand the context. And in an interview with VentureBeat's gaming segment at DICE Summit this past February, this question was asked. On AI in particular, there was an interesting example today with the Wheel of Time franchise having its own large language model. It's an interesting response on the topic of both responsible AI and respecting IP, making sure that only licensed things can go into an LLM, a large language model. This particular solution is to put only that IP into the LLM. Does that sound at all appealing for the franchises you have at Hasbro? Now, before we talk about Chris's reply, this is essentially what's happening. The company behind the Wheel of Time books and intellectual property is placing into their own database a large language model. All information from the Wheel of Time media, books, TV show, video games, everything. In turn, when a new creator, a director, for example, or a writer for the show needs to reference something to verify what's happened in the lore as canon, this AI can produce that information quickly and will let them know if they have violated the canon with one of their spin-off stories. That's the context of the question that GameBeat is asking. Chris Cox replies, "First off, we're doing research and development efforts around AI. I think most major entertainment and IP holders are at least thinking about it. The key there is the responsible use of it. We have an even higher bar we need to hit because we serve audiences of all ages. We go from preschoolers on up to adulthood. I don't think we can be very cavalier in how we think about AI. That said, it's exciting. There is a lot of potential for delighting audiences. We need to make sure that we do it in a way that respects the creators we work with, respects their works of art, respects their ownership of those works, and also creates a fun and safe environment for kids who might use it." And this is the key part that most people are focusing in on. The advantage we have, this is cutting-edge technology. And Hasbro is a 100-year-old company. When you talk about the richness of the lore and the depth of the brands, D&D has 50 years of content that we can mine. Literally thousands of adventures that we've created, probably tens of millions of words we own and can leverage. Magic the Gathering has been around for 35 years, more than 15,000 cards we can use in something like that. We can leverage all of that to be able to build very interesting and compelling use cases of AI that can bring our characters to life. We can build tools that aid in content creation for users or create really interesting gamified scenarios around them. Adding to the context, GameBeats then asks, is there anything scary in the possibilities around users creating their own stuff? Is it a good idea to participate in that and give more leeway to users? How do you balance that against other concerns an IP holder might have? Chris replies, that's the concern people have with a new disruptive technology. And I always think there's a fair way to be able to allocate value creation. Generally speaking, brands that figure out how to leverage their users, not just as users, but as creators, tend to thrive. That's the mindset we need to adapt as well. Have we figured it out? No. Do I think anyone in the industry has truly figured it out? Probably not yet. But will we figure it out? Yeah, I think we will. It is this next question that really fills in the context. GamesBeat continues with, I don't know if there was a lesson to draw from all the D&D licensing controversy, but we're going into brave new worlds compared to what has been allowed in the past. Chris replies, we certainly weren't at our best during some points on the open gaming license, but I think we learned pretty fast. We got back to first principles pretty quickly. The 20-plus years that the open game license has been in existence for something like D&D, I think that gives us a lot of experience to navigate what will emerge with AI, and just generally the development of user-based content platforms. So what does this all mean? Well, from what I'm gathering from it and with the wording of his answers, I'd be willing to bet that Hasbro is and has been working on some form of AI for their own products, whether it's an AI DM or something for internal use to keep canon, which I cannot imagine would be the case. But if it's to be used completely to generate new content, which begs the question as to if that's why so many people were let go from Wizards last year, especially when Wizards saw a 10% growth in revenue. If you want to save money, don't have employees, right? On the same hand, haven't we been creating custom, how did he use it, user-based content specifically for Dungeons & Dragons since like the 1970s? Given it's rarely been officially canon because we've made it fit our own campaigns and our own table. But yeah, I mean, we have been creating content without the need of AI for years, for decades. On the other hand, I have to admit, if the route Hasbro is wanting to go is to put the collective into a large language model, I honestly can see some benefits to that. Keep in mind that this interview took place on March 1st. On March 19th, Hasbro released this statement on their website via a press release. Hasbro's rich legacy of games and toys was built through the collaborative efforts of a diverse community of creators and storytellers, and we maintain persistent focus on empowering these teams to craft exceptional experiences for fans. The use of generative AI tools is rapidly evolving, and we will responsibly examine emerging technologies knowing that such responsibility is possible only when paired with unwavering respect for the rights of creators. As such, we will continue to commission, employ, and celebrate artists and content creators, and we will empower each of our teams to determine if generative AI tools are right for their business, fans, and community. The interesting thing to note is that it has a copyright date of 2023, which could either be a typo or a telltale sign that this is something that they've been anticipating to release for several months now. Either way, this could have a major impact, especially in light of the glory of the Giants artwork that was revealed to have used AI to touch up portions of. According to both the interview with Chris Cox and the statement released by Hasbro, stuff like that might be allowed in the future. The other thing about all of this to keep in mind is we have no way of knowing what element of AI they are experimenting with. Could it be on the artwork side? Could it be on the language side? Likely it's all of it. And while there have been a lot of vocal amount of people straight up against AI generative works, this is something that's not going to go away, regardless of Hasbro's involvement. It is an emerging technology that, if used responsibly, will make a fortune for many. But that's the key element, if used responsibly, which sadly is rarely the case. Especially the opportunity to make money is, if that opportunity is on the table. Someone is going to find a way to dirty it up, and they'll likely make an even larger amount of money using AI. At the end of the day, what can we truly take away from this? Hasbro is actively exploring the potential applications of AI technology, both AI-driven content as well as tools to aid in content creation, and it's not going to be held specifically to their D&D or Magic the Gathering IP, but will be applied across multiple IPs that they own. Hasbro is stating up front that they recognize the importance of using AI responsibly, but especially because there is the potential for children to use it. And I'm sure the last thing the world really wants to see is Peppa Pig in no one really wants that. Hasbro recognizes that user-created content has a place, regardless of how it was created, and they want to empower those users to determine if the tools are right or not. Hasbro has learned from past mistakes, specifically how the fans reacted to the OGL, and they realize how reactive we can be in the event of a future major mistake. Overall, it appears that, at least on the surface, that Hasbro is taking a cautious approach to exploring generative AI, that they are wanting to balance the potential benefits of AI with ethical considerations, and to be frank, in that, I don't think that they have a choice, especially with children being potentially involved and impacted. AI is not going anywhere, regardless of how up in arms any given segment wants to get, because AI is going to be injected into a vast number of industries. And I'm talking, like example, healthcare. Imagine taking your entire medical history, in your family's medical history, plugging into a database, and in that you can then put in the symptoms that you're experiencing. The AI can then generate possible ailments. Well, I mean, listen, we like to chase the almighty dream of eternal life. And if any industry is going to benefit from the use of AI, it's going to be the medical industry. And I have a feeling it'll be along those diagnostic lines. But I digress. As for the gaming industry, imagine playing an online game like World of Warcraft, only when you enter a dungeon, the map is AI generated. It's never the same map twice. Imagine the monsters within are populated with AI, the treasure is generated with AI. Honestly, there is an amount of appeal there to experience something that no one else ever will. Specifically with Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering, what we've covered today provides a basic understanding of Hasbro's approach to generative AI. I think it's a fairly safe assumption to say that they have been and are working with it and will continue to do so in the future, although we may not see anything from it for a while. Whether you agree with generative AI use or not, or whether you agree with Hasbro or not, I hope that this video has provided some context of that landscape that they're exploring. If you have other insights to all of this surrounding Hasbro and AI, let's keep the conversation going. Talk to me down in the comments. And until next our paths cross, may you... Actually, let's brain together. How could we, you and I, us, the viewers and me, use AI to make mad amount of money? What industry do you work in? How could you best use it? Let's ponder that in the comments. Until next our paths cross, may you use AI responsibly and creatively.